Okay, yeah, so here's some pictures of like the actual tent, the size of the holes in this thing at first, okay? The whole side is basically gone, right? But, so this is the case that they found it in. So they didn't think much of it, right? They weren't really looking at it. They're like, holy crap, something demolished this thing and then whatever. But now you slide down a little bit farther and it starts showing how there were individual little slits. All these little slits were made from the inside. All of these slits were facing towards the wood line. So they were looking towards the woods, specifically cut these little slits along the tops. And if you slide down a little bit farther here, the diagram shows how they were cut near the tops all on the same side. So I find that very interesting that they were cutting what was keeping them safe and warm and protected. Like, why would you, it was like minus 25 degrees, I want to say, something like that at this point in time, for them to be cutting this tent open. And then obviously the two giant gashes in it, which just pretty much opened it wide open, and then they ran out. But that's what throws me off. You see that first picture of that tent, right? Like how it looks just demolished, but then it says that they walked in an orderly line. Like, what? Like, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It doesn't add up necessarily. I just wanted to point that out, though. That the tent was cut from the inside, and it was cut looking towards the tree line only on the one side. I find that unique because then that applies to me. I feel that they're trying to get an eye to look out at something, right, without going outside. I could be wrong. I mean, that's just me repeating also things that others have said, but I find it unique, and I find it at least worth noting.
I think...
So, yeah, I mean, that's some of this in a nutshell. Sorry. Sorry that took so long, guys.
No, I mean, you did a fantastic job. I think what we often do on our show, we kind of skip over a lot of details, so I feel like that was very valuable. So that was awesome, dude. I keep going back and forth. Is it aliens or is it Bigfoot? Because like when you forget about the tent and these little details, and you think, okay, well, it was obviously some kind of animal attack, tried to get in, but then you think, oh, well, it was cut from the inside, so they were running from something. They wanted to get out. I mean, they're basically in they're like in a hot pocket, right? Like they're like all in one space, and one animal's trying to get at them. You always think like, all right, well, how the fuck am I going to get out of here?
Yeah.
And for them to like take the time to, in the diagram, it shows like a little razor blade, but how would you have like a single razor blade ready? But yeah, like I'm thinking somebody said, okay, well, it's coming from the opposite side, so we want to go towards the woods. Let's not take the time to undo all the fastenings on the opening and the exit or whatever, and just fucking go. Let's go.
Well, but the issue there is they would have been like, okay, when I cut this tent, we're all gonna walk in an orderly fashion down to this tree.
Yeah, that does not add up.
That's a weird.
So this was just what I just sent to you guys. Is just, I'm not saying we have to stop and talk about, but this was another theory that's put out there that the Soviet Union and the USSR was testing this thing called a parachute mine. It was like a 2-part stage rocket, and they were testing it in remote areas. So some people hypothesize that this is it. I personally think this is ridiculous as a plausible thing, because if a rocket exploded or if there was a mine that exploded, they would have had massive, in my opinion, external damage of some sort.
Yeah.
Now, Micah, you had mentioned, though, from back in our days of watching, you guys remember, anybody remember that show from back in the day? What was that? Crap.
Gullah Gullah Island.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Gumby.
No, close. Good guesses. The thing where they would test it out, and they were scientists.
Mythbusters.
And they would do these experiments.
Mythbusters.
Thank you.